Hello, welcome to another one of our videos, and this time we're looking at a few ways that you could train the glutes to improve like your stability for walking, especially people with issues around the glutes that lead into SIJ problems, low back pain, and have trouble walking and controlling extension. These exercises might be very useful. So there's a few variations. They're all linked, but they're all a lot different at the same time. So we'll go through this first one. So this first one's just really about controlling the stance leg. So you can control, like get really good strength in the glutes in that stance. All right, so you can see I've got the band pulling laterally, basically trying to pull me off balance. So it's pulling out that way. So my glute here of my stance leg is just working really hard. And all I want to do is just stay in this position, and you'll see in a second what this looks like from a side-on angle. But what I'm going to do at the same time, while I'm just holding myself there, I'm not going to come up. I'm just bringing my knee up into flexion. So what I'm trying to maintain is a nice neutral, like a deadlift position, but standing obviously on a single leg. So I don't want any movement through my lower back and my pelvis. I want it just to stay perfectly neutral. So there's building a lot of tension because I can't actually stand up and get out of it. All right, so there's quite a lot of work obviously on my left leg, and really just my right leg's more concerned with getting into full range of hip flexion. All right, so now once I've got control of the stability, now I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to actually devote the strength to the moving leg. Now it's a lot harder to do this with the balance thing just standing still. You'll have a significant loss of strength. So it's wise to sort of cheat on it by holding onto the pole. And you'll see how I'll feed my foot through the cable here. And I'm going to get in that exact same position. So this is the side-on angle that you didn't see a second ago. And now it's all about the strength of the leg pushing backwards. However, I still need the strength on the stance leg. Just the stability is not a problem because I'm holding on to the pole. All right, so now you can see what I'm aiming for on this leg is that the glute on my right leg now is going to be providing all of the activation to give me extension. And you'll see how this relates to walking in a second because I'm going to bring it into a walking stance. So when it comes into flexion here, I'm trying hard not to let my back roll out, so I don't want to end up where my pelvis rolls under. I don't want that. I want to maintain my neutral position just like I would with a deadlift. All right, that was what I was trying to do harder on the first side. All right, and then now I actually need a bit of strength through my glute max to push backwards. All right, so this is quite a good way to like work on stance phase and swinging leg, although it's not in perfect for walking action because you're much more upright. It's accentuating the extension, so we're really driving force into the glutes with a lot more force than normal. All right, so we'll have a look in a second what it looks like when we start to bring it more into walking action. All right, so now we're going to move into almost the walking position. Just prior to that, I'm just going to do a little activation drill using a Swiss ball here where I'm just lying on top of it, so giving me extra stability through my pelvis and my lower back, and I'm just trying to get into that stance phase. And you'll see in a second, if I was to flip this screen vertically right now, it would actually be the extension I'm going to require when I walk. And all I'm doing is see, if you look carefully, how my foot, I've got my ankle very much dorsiflexed because I don't want to point my toe. I want to keep this foot flat, because that's what we're going to do in a second. Now all of the work, I'm trying really hard to concentrate on it being done by there and nothing from my lower back to assist. So it's a very simple drill, and the ball's giving me a hell of a lot of stability. You can see me glancing in the mirror there to see if I am trying to cheat at all. And you're just trying to control the range of extension into the hip with it being predominantly provided by the glutes and not the hamstrings, and definitely not the lower back. All right, so once I've done a few activation drills, then I can go into the stance phase. And I'm going to add another little tool just to assist me, because there's another important factor that hasn't been really addressed with the other exercises, and that's the big toe. Now the big toe is really crucial to the stance phase because it really needs to provide my entire body weight would head over this joint when I come into the walking action. So when I step through, and now this point here is where I'm in, this is where the glutes should be about to activate. So if I was to continue walking this way, it would provide this propulsion backwards by doing that same extension that we just saw on the Swiss ball, but obviously I'm standing. Now, a few things go wrong here. Firstly, a lot of people will splay their feet out to the side, so they won't get the big toe to flex on itself like it is right there. Second thing is they'll lift the heel up too early. All right, so that's what we were working on a second ago with the Swiss ball, is I wanted to keep that heel flat on the ground. So by doing so, I feel a bit of quite a fair calf stretch, but it actually helps me to engage this a lot more effectively, especially if I'm thinking and concentrating about it, which a lot of people will have to. The little block here is just assisting me in getting my big toe, so I don't have to think about that. It's forcing my big toe to flex on itself so that I would walk right over the big toe and not rotate the foot outwards, which then sort of stuffs everything up around the hip and the ankle. All right, so there's quite a few things going on here, and so if I just play this, you just see I'm just going to walk backward and forward, just really accentuating that left leg, and see how I'm going to try to straighten that knee out to accentuate it. I'll just come back to here. So I'm attempting to almost, and there's a it's very tempting to lift the heel when you do this, but I'm just trying to accentuate that extension so that I can learn to control it and get the activation through my glutes and not into my lower back, which is, like I said at the beginning, a lot of the people who have problems walking and standing for long periods, that's exactly what happens. The lower back does all of the extension of the hip instead of the glutes. So these are like clever little drills where we've gone stance phase, swing phase, lying to activate the swing phase again, and then trying to put it all together in the walking action. All right, so all of these exercises, we're trying to work on improving this very one thing that I'm doing right here. All right, and then obviously probably the next thing would be to just go for a walk and see if you can execute that. It sort of feels a bit strange because you have to slow it down a bit too much, but hopefully with enough repetitions you can start to reprogram this complicated program that should happen like that anyway, but when there's problems going on and the dysfunction and imbalances, it just takes over and ruins it all, and then the compensation just forever leaves you always overworking in the same area and underworking in the area that you wanted it, or that it should be working. All right, so a couple of ways that you can try that, and just see how it works for you, and hopefully it helps you to reduce the pain in your walking, and you can get control of the pain and move into easier things again. All right, so hope that you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on the next one.